Yeah, good. Jeremy, thank you for joining us. More FA Cup action for us to look forward to this weekend. What's the mood in camp like for that one?
Mood's very good. We've tightened it up this past few games and feel like we're on a good run of form. So the mood's been good every day. Even when we weren't doing well, the mood was good. And so I think you don't get too low, you don't get too high. So that's been one of the better things about this team.
Yeah, it must have been really pleasing for the players because so many of the recent performances have deserved 3 points. So to actually come away with 3 after a game must have been a bit of a weight lifted off the shoulders. Is that the right way to put it?
Yeah, I'd say there's a bit of relief, but at every game you kind of treat as its own game. But that feeling of winning a game, especially at home at the Broadfield, that's what we chase, and hopefully that'll happen a lot more.
Yeah, and obviously you're familiar with the English game now, so you know what the FA Cup will mean to a lot of fans, staff players as well. So we know that one win, could see us playing some pretty big teams at some pretty big stadiums like we've already had this year against Brighton. So it must be an exciting prospect for the players.
No, playing at the Amex was an amazing feeling. So I think everybody loves those opportunities to play against, whether it's a big club or at least a club that's higher up. So we know we have a tough one against Lincoln City, but after that, if we're able to win, everyone, fans, players, everyone will be looking forward to it.
Yeah, and how's the sort of time with Rob been? We've had a couple of months now of Rob Elliott's football. We've been settling in. Obviously, you've played in a couple of different positions as well. How have you been finding it?
Good. I think it takes a few weeks for the managers and players to gain an understanding of each other, but once that happens and you understand what he wants, how he wants it, things get a lot easier, and I think that's clicked right now. And we've still got a little work to do, but we're getting closer, and yeah, it's been good.
Yeah, and some changes for you. Happy Thanksgiving. I suppose it's the first one you've spent over here, not in the States, so it must be a bit of a change. How have you been finding it?
It's all right. I mean, I surely won't be eating tons of food and watching American football or doing anything like that, but I'll have a little bit of turkey tonight at dinner. It's bigger than Christmas over there, to be honest. So it's a shame not to be over there, but I'm very happy to be here.
Perfect.
Brilliant. Growing up in America now, the FA Cup, what did it mean? Did you watch it a lot? Did you follow it a lot? Does it mean a lot to Americans?
I wouldn't say it means as much to Americans as it does over here. No American is as passionate about a specific team as fans over here. So you'd watch it and you'd see some minnows playing some big teams, and that would be interesting. But no, you don't get the passion for the FA Cup that you get over here. The Prem's probably way more important.
Yeah, and on Saturday we saw you play in a slightly different position to what you had been. Have you got a favourite position? Because you played really well in that on Saturday. But is there any position you particularly like?
Not really. I think that's one of my biggest assets is I can play all over the place. And what I tell them is if I'm on the pitch, that's all that matters. So wherever it is, left wing, in the middle, slightly further up, further back, that doesn't matter. I'm just happy to be on the pitch.
Yeah, and after Saturday's game, I said how well you played to Rob Elliott, and he said you're one of the most technically gifted players he's ever worked with. That must be nice to hear, mustn't it?
It is. It's always nice when you get a compliment, especially from your gaffer. But there's, that's one of the things I bring to the team, and you try to have balance in the team. So there's other players that offer different assets and traits. So I'm just happy he says that, but it's glad I can bring something to the team.
Yeah, and it's coming up almost a year now since you've been at Crawley, isn't it? I think. How have you found the time? There's been a lot of changes, isn't there? And it must be exciting for you now to be playing at some massive stadiums. On Tuesday night, you're playing at the Valley against Charlton. It's sort of from where you started with Crawley to where you are now. It's been quite a big journey, hasn't it, in a year?
It has, and I wouldn't have expected to be where we are now, me or the team. But you're right, playing it, we'll play at St. Andrews later in the year, and it's been great. I've watched some games when I was back home, and you see some of these teams in the Prem, and you go to a Reading or a Wigan, and I've watched plenty of those games before, 10 years ago. And that's one of the great things of playing English football is that you play all over the place, and against teams that historically have been great, and some that are, some places you never even heard of. So that's been one of the biggest things that I've enjoyed since I've been over here.
Brilliant. Thanks, Jeremy. Good luck Saturday.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Cheers.